Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. Today's video is going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about the eclipse and new moon happening on December 14th, 2020. I did this video earlier today live, but the reception was poor, so I took it down, and I wanted you to have the information, so I'm making it again and recording it so I can ensure its quality. Okay, so as you see here, I wrote down eclipse choice point. What I mean by that people like you that gravitate towards information like this have been on the spiritual path, whether you know it or not, for a very long time. In fact, I would go to say your whole life has been unfolding and building in such a way, leading you to this time we're living in now, this time of awakening, this time of spiritual upliftment. And you put a lot of work in already, just through living your life. And you're getting to a point where your vibration, the work, the momentum you put in is going to especially start to crystallize and become more real, more solid, more evident in your entire life experience. And right now is sort of like there are many different options we have available, many different timelines, if you will. And it's a time to make a choice. It's a time to let go of fear. It's a time to step forth and lead with your heart. Because when you lead with your heart, that will be your life. Your life will start to reflect one who's truly in harmony with your heart. But I know that's kind of vague. That's sort of a brief synopsis. And that's why I always break it down into 5 more specific themes to help you make sense of what I'm trying to say. And what I'm trying to say is this choice point is a massive opportunity for you to streamline your life and really just live life at your potential to the fullest and have that reflected in all areas of your life, in your relationships, your career, your living situation, your moment-to-moment, day-to-day experiences can be a reflection of your true soul, your true soul's potential. Anyway, I digress. Number 1, I wrote down call to action. Earlier today, I was looking around online and I saw that, you can take this for what you will, but the Galactic Federation of Light, an organization of extraterrestrials, have somehow or another made it into the mainstream news on CNN, or maybe not CNN, but NBC, and major news outlets actually reported. This is really starting to seep into the collective. And that has huge implications. All the things that have been covered up are now starting to come to light. And on one hand, that has a lot of implications and is very exciting. On the other hand, you could imagine the responses of the collective to this type of information. People like you and me were like, cool, yeah, I've been waiting for this, thank goodness. It's going to be interesting to see how the collective responds. But I wrote down here call to action because you're already aware of this kind of stuff. This is not news to you. And the way you're experiencing this shift is very different than the collective. The collective is just now beginning to become aware. You've been aware, and your experience is deepening. And call to action, what I mean by that exactly, is that there's going to be, and you probably might already be able to feel this now, but a lot more creative energy coming online within your body, within your mind, within your inspiration. Creative gusto, passion is going to be stronger within you. And there's a reason for that, because you came to balance this situation out. So you might feel like you have a lot more creative energy, like there's a lot more of your soul's power truly coming online at this time, which is just ripe with potential. Now, number 2, streamlining your life. In the earlier update, I think I said something along the line of aligning this energy, this creative gusto with your heart. Because when you really take that creative, like psychic energy potential, and you you have a choice of where you put it. When you funnel it in a direction that really resonates with your soul, with your heart, with your inner child, that's when you have like the backing, the support of the universe. That's when synchronicities can start spilling into your life and carry you forward. And all the pursuits, all the things you do are going to be awesome for you. They're going to really make you happy and go to bed just content, deeply at peace and whole. But when you're aligned in that way with your heart, when you streamline your life in this way, then your life becomes an asset to the whole, a balancing totem to this collective that's now starting to go through all sorts of different awakenings. And it's not always easy to see. And we are powerful co-creators. And we can choose to take our life in different directions. I'll give an example. So recently, I found myself very synchronistically with two different big options in my life. Each one would take me in a completely different direction. On one hand, many of you know I've been wanting to be a writer. I've been trying to write books. Well, I finally linked up with someone who's writing a book for a very well-known publishing company, and I'm friends with them, and we are going back and forth, and they put me in touch. And there's a good chance I'm going to be getting published with a very well-known publishing company, having never written a book before. And that's exciting, and it's not official yet, but I've been kind of going back and forth with them, right? Well, parallel to that, another similar but also very different opportunity just fell into my lap. It was an opportunity to actually be on TV in a new reality show, in a sense, that's spiritual, from the same fundamental organization that does The Voice and Desperate Housewives, all those it's like a big deal. And they were strongly considering me as being on this show. And the premise of the show is pretty cool. It's about how woo-woo spiritual practices that are sort of scrutinized and heavily, there's a lot of skeptics involved, how those things actually can work and change people's lives. And they would follow me and my family around and be on TV. And I thought, man, that's kind of exciting. And it's also a huge opportunity for my career. But something within me felt off. Something within me felt like I had to choose. Now, sometimes in life, it's not about this or that. It's about this and that. At this particular choice point in my life, I felt like there has to be a decision made. And I found myself where both circumstances had a little momentum, but neither were crystallizing. And I was getting concerned because I was waiting to hear back from the publishing company. And it was a few days since we last talked, and I was getting kind of like, what's the delay? And then I had this intuition, this almost like an awakening within myself that said, you can't have both. You got to make a choice. And I just knew intuitively to reach out to the TV company and say, you know what, thank you, but I'm going to respectfully decline. And I took myself out of that situation. 5 minutes later, I heard from the publishing company saying, Victor, I'm so excited, blah, blah. I'm going to be getting on a Skype call to discuss the potential new book. And it, boom, just like that. Minutes after that, I got a text from my friend Aaron Dowdy. He heard a podcast that talked about Jerry Seinfeld and his different writing habits. And he said, Victor, I know you want to be a writer, bro. You got to hear this podcast. But the moment I made that choice that aligned with my heart, the support was there, the synchronicity was there, and the ball is now rolling. Okay, so I know it's not always easy, but you might find yourself in a similar, somewhat situation where you have a lot of options. And when you're in doubt, always go with your heart. It will never lead you astray. Number 3, I wrote down moving. Moving, question mark. I use the word moving for some of you, maybe quite a few of you literally, but also for many of you metaphorically, in the sense of moving your life, your body, your situation into a situation that's more higher vibration, essentially, more in harmony and more in resonance with where you're now actually at vibrationally. Because you grow so quickly spiritually, you might have found it's almost like you're always making big changes. There's always a new change you got to make. And sometimes, in spite of that, there are times to take big jumps, big moves, big life shifts with a career, relationship, house, where you live. And you might feel called somewhere. Like I felt called to Sedona. That's where I'm at right now. And part of me, you know, when that happens, it can be like, huh, that's a big deal. Do I take massive action based upon this feeling, this intuition, this resonance? And, you know, to move, it implies a lot of different things. It implies real big, serious, sort of permanent changes. So it's not to be taken lightly. But I have found that every time I felt guided to move, in spite of my fear, in spite of my mind's apprehensions and resistance, in spite of the work it might have taken to make the shift or the move, it always paid off. It always reflected in my life in all ways. It always felt like walking in or stepping into a warm bath. That feeling of, this feels so good. This feels so warm and right and appropriate. And when you make these big moves, whether you're moving where you live, or you're moving your career, or maybe you're just making some big changes to how you're treating your body and you're detoxing and you're fasting, you're eating healthier food. When you make these moves in your life to situate yourself into where you're in a better vibration, more compatible, then it's like your life starts to very quickly mirror that congruency, that resonance. So if you feel guided to move, now is a good time because our vibrations are shifting very quickly, and sometimes our life has to shift around to keep up with the growing and expanding you. Number 4, oh boy, the resistance. In the previous video, I had a little different title. I wrote down dealing with haters. Haters. And I mean haters as a blanket term for external resistance that can come up when you're making these big shifts in your life, when you're growing quickly, when you're transforming. We have resistance within ourselves. And oftentimes it comes out in our life in the form of a naysayer or of a hater online, like I get all the time on YouTube. It could be just a sibling, a coworker, people in your life that put out their skepticism and doubts and their negativity onto you because you're rapid changing, the light you're starting to shine can sometimes cast light upon these sources of these other people, basically. And anyway, it's not about it being unfortunate for you. It's just sort of a circumstance that we deal with sometimes with resistance on all levels when we make big changes in our life. And the number one source of resistance is us, our own inner critic, our own inner liar, or as Dolores Cannon calls, Mr. Stupid. And that's a term to describe the skeptical ego part of us that doesn't want us to change. In fact, I'll give an example. I used to smoke cigarettes a long time ago, and I'll never forget how I felt when I would get a cold and I was sick. I'd go outside in the cold, my lungs hurt, and I was smoking. And as I was doing that, I thought, man, I should not be doing this. This is not a good idea, Vic. Your lungs are hating you right now. But when it came time to quit, for some reason, it was so hard, not only because of the nicotine withdrawal and all that kind of stuff, but there was a part of me that even in that sort of painful, addicted state felt safe, it felt comfortable, it was familiar. Well, this awakening is causing you to break out of these boxes left and right at every turn. And it's just a constant, fast-paced forward movement sort of thing. And as you do this, it's natural, it's okay, it's common, very common to attract resistance from your outside life and from within. And unfortunately, a lot of people allow this resistance to get the best of them and to make them question themselves and question their motives, question their intentions, question their decisions. But it's very important to not let that happen. And very important to understand that if it is happening, if you're dealing with resistance, it's okay. And you don't have to listen to it. That's kind of what Dolores Cannon says. She brings up the idea of Mr. Stupid to people clients of hers that are going to go into this QHHT hypnosis experience. Because she knows this hypnosis experience is going to be a stretch to the rational mind. It's going to be a new thing that's very healing, profound, and spiritually uplifting. And as these people are in the process of getting into the hypnosis, getting into this positive state of healing and catharsis and awakening, she knows at that doorway, Mr. Stupid comes online and says, oh, this is bullshit. what are you doing? This isn't working for you. You don't want to do this. And it comes in to try to keep you where you were. But she says, you know what? This is to be expected. It's most people deal with Mr. Stupid as they're about to drop into this theta state in this hypnosis technique. She said, just ignore it. Be aware and then ignore it. You don't have to feed the resistance. You don't have to even acknowledge it. You can simply say, oh, there it is. Ignore it. And remember, the best choices always come from your heart. You never have to question your heart. Number 5, big opportunity. All these changes, this creative energy you're feeling but don't know where to put it. The moving your life around, the shifting and the resistance, all of it is part of a big opportunity for what I spoke about earlier. When you streamline your life can start to reflect your preferences on all levels. And you might start seeing this in a very real, grounded way in your life. Some of you now, like me with the book, that's a real big, exciting thing that's starting to actually come into my life. But as this is happening, it's causing me to go through all of this stuff right now. Same thing's happening with my wife Patty. She's an aspiring medicine woman. She's been a medicine woman in training for a few years now. And she finally got to this point where recently myself, my wife, and my friend Aaron Dowdy, it's almost like fate intertwined us with these new medicine workers in Costa Rica. And we recently ran a retreat with them. We kind of combined our efforts. And these like very, very high level medicine people just took a liking to Patty. And they all agreed, they all felt like a soul connection. And they were so encouraging and supportive, and they let her like do different tasks that normally she wasn't able to do before. And she was really able to kind of step into her power and sort of rise up to this new level of being a medicine woman in training. And it's just like this amazing thing. And we have this like situation now where we're going to be working with them multiple times a year in Costa Rica. And for Patty, the point is, it's like a dream come true. It's a huge upgrade. It's like, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted for. And it's better than I could have ever imagined. It feels so amazing, but she's got the resistance going on, the inner critic, the dark night of the soul stuff's coming up. She's having to make some big changes in her life. And all the stuff I talked about are part of that big opportunity. That's not just about Patty, not just about me and the book. It's not just about you and your mission. It's about the collective. The timing is always perfect. All this is happening with you now, so you can rise up to this next level of yourself, of presence, of consciousness, so that you can continue to be a balancing element, a balancing asset to the fluctuating and shifting collective consciousness that's now just beginning to wake up. And we all know how that was when you first started waking up. It can be very earth-shattering, especially for people who have been really strongly subscribed to fear-based beliefs, which is the collective. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I, for one, have hope. I have hope because of you. People like you chose to come into this world to spread your light, to do the work, to master yourselves, to balance out this collective. So together we can ascend. So together we can wake up. So together we can change our ways and start living from our heart consciously. And there can be harmony, can be restored. So it's all happening within you. It's happening with the collective. The timing is magnificent, and it's all perfect. So anyways, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. Before I go, I do want to mention that I did mention in the other video that I don't always talk about on YouTube. But starting, I believe, on January 9th, I'm starting my next coaching program. A lot of you don't even know I do coaching, which is why I'm mentioning it, because if you don't follow me on Instagram or get my emails, you're not aware. But I've been doing group coaching for a while now, and I have a group coaching program that's been based upon working with hundreds of clients one-on-one. And now just a few times a year, I take a small group of people through this 12-week program, and I'm starting to take applications today. If this is something that interests you, if you never knew it was an option to work with me in this way, just click below. There's a link down at the top of the description box where you can learn more about this if you're interested. And if not, that's fine too. I'll see you all next time. Have an amazing day, my friends. Much love to you. Peace.